I'd say round one went to fire team 2.
How do you figure that? Because now we have a Kiro and an Einstein.
Who spent his time after class cleaning up a mushed up fovea? This round went to us.
Technically. But you still have Wingo. Wingo.
We'll clean up with whatever softball lecture we have today. And all you have is crushed eyeball slime.
Just try and keep up.
Group, attention!
Good morning, Major Lucas. The group is ready for instruction.
Sergeant Mosby, I appreciate that. But I'm a wounded warrior now, so we can all relax, gather around. We're here to learn.
Major Lucas is my mentor, and will forever be my mentor. And now, he is yours.
I was informed that there was an incident involving your group that necessitated their coming here to meet me.
Yes, sir. My soldiers went to Hollywood and got careless.
Playing Star Wars, were you?
Yes, sir. Those two stooges there, Einstein and Washington, held a lightsaber battle using this green laser.
Look at me, soldiers. Look at me with both of your eyes. Thank God you can every day. I walk with a cane because I was blinded by a laser in the field through a set of binoculars. I heard a pop. I closed my eyes and stumbled into a moving Humvee. Crushed my ankle, took 14 screws to set it, and lost sight in this eye, which I cover now as not to confuse people when I talk to them. Most don't know which eye to follow in conversation.
Question, sir?
Go ahead.
Well, you got zapped by a laser.
That's right.
Through binoculars, sir?
Yes,
And, sir, no one was clowning around?
that's correct. In fact, the laser being operated was about 700 meters away.
700 meters?
Over 700, yes.
Holy crap.
What's the matter, Kiro?
Well, sir, I guess if this kind of stuff can happen when no one's clowning around, then I don't know the kind of danger we're really in.
Excellent point. So, let's review what you might come across in your training. You've all been involved in Miles training, right?
Yes, sir.
So, why don't you get hurt when you fire lasers at each other to simulate a kill?
It's not powerful enough, sir?
Correct. We're talking a Class 1 laser with this system.
Sir, Class 1?
A majority of the Miles lasers are Class 1, or will be Class 1 in the very near future. It's the only class considered eye safe. It cannot injure your eyes. You people know how many classifications there are.
9.
6?
5.
4?
4.
Well, it's changed since the 80s. Today we have 7 classes of lasers.
That means you have to use both hands, Einstein.
The chart covers them, but here's what you could do to understand the risk quicker. Class 1. None. No hazards, but don't point it at anyone anyway. Why start bad habits? Treat them like weapons. So 1 means
None.
Class 1M means 1 magnified, like through binoculars. So The chance of eye injury is magnified when the laser beam is viewed through magnifying optics.
Excuse me, sir, but you just told us that Class 1 had no hazard at all.
That's right.
So how does 1M mean more hazard, sir?
Not more hazard, magnified hazard. Your eye collects light through your pupil, the black area in the center of your eye. It's about the size of a pea.
Like the vegetable, sir?
Yes, the vegetable. The energy that enters into your eye through your pupil determines how hazardous the beam may be. Binoculars are simply much larger pupils, about the size of a small tangerine.
That's Wingo like the fruit.
Go ahead, sir.
Here, a large beam can be captured through an opening 50 times that of your own pupil.
Which then gets focused onto the pupil and then back onto the red.
Exactly. Class 1M lasers generally have large beams, but still the energy that enters your pea-sized pupil is safe to view, unaided, which we would call Class 1. But when that beam is collected through the tangerine-sized pupil of a set of binoculars, that beam is now an eye hazard, which we call Class 1M. So, for our purposes today, we'll simply say Class 1M means danger is magnified.
Try that, group. Class 1M means?
Danger is magnified.
You've all used a bore light laser by now, right?
Oh, yes, sir. We use them to align sights and zero weapons.
Well, a bore light is a Class 2 laser. Class 2 is a visible laser. So we say Class 2, see or not to see.
To see or not to see?
It's like Shakespeare. To be or not to be, that is the question.
Damn, Einstein. You're smarter than I thought.
Who's Shakespeare?
William Shakespeare was England's preeminent playwright in the late 1500s and early 1600s. One of his most famous lines was to be or not to be.
So, why use that line, sir?
All Class 2 lasers produce visible light, so they can be seen. So your natural response to a bright light is?
Look away.
To blink and look away, right. It's the only protection you need. That would be the see or not to see. So, if Class 2,
See or not to see.
however, not all visible beam lasers are Class 2, so don't be confused. There's a Class 2M, which also stands for magnified, as through optics like binoculars. So, Class 2M means danger is
Magnified.
The higher we classify the laser, the more harm it could pose. So, think higher harms more. Now, what's this?
That's a laser pointer, sir.
Can it hurt me?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
What class is it? Class 3R. So, could it possibly hurt me?
Yes, sir.
Good. So the laser pointer could hurt you. It may be rare, but it could. So, Class 3R, injuries are rare.
Say it, group. Class 3R.
Injuries are rare.
Wow. You can be told.
But not all Class 3R lasers are visible. Some are invisible. So, don't take any chances. What about the infrared laser on your weapon?
Maybe.
Well, what class is it? Currently, it's a 3R, but only in the training mode. You can flip a switch and change it into a higher class in the tactical setting, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, what we know about your infrared laser is that in the training mode, it's the same class as the laser pointer. Well, what about the green lasers you're issued? What class are they? Class 3R, in training mode, so it could hurt you, just like the laser pointer, and just like the IR laser on your weapon. But flick that switch on the IR laser or on the green laser, and you're in tactical mode. And now you have a Class 3B laser. Now we enter the area where you can seriously hurt each other. A Class 3B laser can also be visible or invisible, but it will harm you. So we say, Class 3B stings like a bee.
Stings like a bee.
Just like a boxer climbing in the ring with Muhammad Ali. He's guaranteed to get hurt. So, stings like a bee reiterates that there is no doubt that this level will hurt anyone that's exposed to the beam, as opposed to 3R, which could rarely hurt someone. And we need a rhyme.
You ever heard of Ali?
Only boxer to win the heavyweight title 4 times.
Oh, what?
Sir, perhaps we should review what you covered so far.
All right, Sergeant.
Class 1.
None.
Class 1M.
Danger is magnified.
Class 2.
See or not to see.
Class 2M.
Danger is magnified.
Class 3R.
Injury is rare.
Class 3B.
Stings like a bee.
With classifications, the higher the number means what?
Higher harms more.
Excellent. Now we come to the classification that got me. Class 4 lasers. Pay attention. You won't spend the rest of your career warning everybody else not to wear an eye patch. Class 4 lasers are used for targeting from the air and the ground, for guided missiles or bombs. These are high-powered lasers, and they have the highest classification number. 4 means more.
More, sir?
Well, if Class 3B stings like a bee, Class 4 hurts more distance, more danger, more severe injuries, more hazards. The NOHD becomes more critical. Any of you know what NOHD is? Nominal ocular hazard distance. I know this isn't MIT, and you're not here to be engineers, but you at least ought to know about NOHD.
What's MIT?
Well, it's not a baseball glove.
It's a school.
So it ain't fruit either, Wingo. Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
It's easiest to think of NOHD this way. Ocular means eye. NOHD is the distance from the laser to your eye, where the laser can no longer injure you. Each laser above Class 1 and 2 has a NOHD for unaided viewing.
Unaided viewing means your naked eye, sir?
Precisely, Akiro. No binoculars and such.
What about aided viewing, sir?
Aided viewing NOHD we call NOHDM for magnified. The NOHDM for viewing through binoculars is typically about 7 times the distance of NOHD.
You mean in order to be safe, you'd have to be 7 times farther away if you were using binoculars than if you weren't?
Correct.
But how do we know where the safe distance is when we're out in the field, sir?
Good question, Corporal. Unfortunately, you won't.
Sir?
You won't. So you're gonna have to play it safe at all times and look out for each other.
No screwing around.
Yes, Sergeant.
So how did you get hit, sir?
Geography. I was where I was supposed to be. The laser wasn't. Just like the sun makes you look away. You get a reflection in your eyes. A laser was flashed into mine.
700 meters? I thought that was a safe distance.
Well, if a laser hits the ground, or a tree, or your backpack, it disperses. The beam goes off in every direction. That lack of concentration makes it far less hazardous. But if a surface has a reflective quality, like a mirror, then you've simply redirected the beam towards an unknown target, with most of its intensity intact.
So it's like doubling the NOHD for that laser? It starts all over when it reflects off the surface, sir?
No. Safe distance for NOHD and NOHDM doesn't change because of a reflection. Shoot this pointer into those gloves on that case. I was where I was supposed to be, but the laser wasn't. It reflected off a surface. Now you hold this mirror just like that, and the new direction caught me in its new path. I'll never know what laser hit me, so maybe at that distance I was still safely outside the NOHD. Same time, I was looking through these. So the distance from the laser to the reflector plus the distance from the reflector to me was less than the NOHDM. Thank you. Even if I could have seen the beam, I couldn't blink fast enough. Nobody can. Plus, the binoculars magnified its intensity about 50 times before it hit my eyeball, which magnified it 100,000 times again as it hit my retina.
Did it hit your fovea?
You know about the fovea. Well, class 4 laser does more heat or damage. Sergeant, will you hit the return button on that laptop? In this clip, a class 4 laser has been directed into a lens that represents the front of your eyeball. The bottom of the test tube represents the back of the eye where the retina is located. When they turn that laser on, the lens in your eye concentrates the laser to the back 100,000 times. The damage to your eye occurs so fast, you don't even know what happened. The heat from that class 4 laser is so intense, it pops the vial, which then spills out the fluid. Just like that vial, the blood vessels in my eye couldn't cool down quickly enough. So they popped at the same time my fovea got burned out. Thank you, Sergeant Mosby.
Sir, how do we avoid that happening to us?
The quick answer is be responsible. Never point a laser at anybody inside its NOHD. I believe you're scheduled to see somebody else for a more detailed approach. But know this, if you guys go out and buy any of this off-the-shelf crap, there's no telling what classification you're dealing with. Can't trust it. So you've been warned. Let's wrap this up and review the classes one more time. Sound off. Class 1.
None.
Class 1M means.
Danger is magnified.
Class 2.
See or not to see.
Class 2M means.
Danger is magnified.
Class 3R.
Injuries are rare.
Class 3B.
Stings like a bee.
Class 4.
Hurts more.
With classifications, the higher the number means what?
Higher harms more.
Very good. So men, learn from me. Okay, Sergeant Mosby, they're all yours.
Group, attention! Thank you, Major Lucas.
Sergeant Mosby, it's always a pleasure.
Have a good day, sir. Okay, men. Let's move out. Hold. 1 minute. One more thing. Einstein,
Yes, Sergeant.
since your literary knowledge far outweighs your common sense with a laser, from now on, you will only be referred to as Shakespeare. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, Sergeant.
Okay, men. Let's move out. Shakespeare. To be or not to be. I'll be on fire today.